Okay, today we're going to go through some examples of determining the best method to use when factoring polynomials. So we're going to go through some of these fairly quickly, and if you need help, hit pause, let us know through GoGuardian Chat or jump into the Google Meet. So first step is always to check to see if you have a GCF. Because there's not an n here, and then there's not a number here, I don't have a GCF. Then I need to see how many terms we have. There's 3 terms here. So whenever you see 3 terms, we're going to do an x factor. So 1 times 9 goes on the top, 6 goes on the bottom. I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 9 and add up to 6. So I'm going to use 3 and 3. So when I write this out, I have n squared, stays the same, split the middle term to have 3n and 3n, and then the last term stays the same. We're going to then make 2 groups and factor out GCFs. So I can take an n out of the first group to leave me with n plus 3, and I can take a 3 out of the second group to leave me with n plus 3. Since these 2 match, we're going to pull that out front, and then these 2 make that second group. Notice those 2 groups are the same, so we can actually write it like this. If you type it in like that, you're still good. Okay, the next one, always check for GCF first. I noticed that I can divide both of those by -10, so I'm going to start by doing that. So negative 80 divided by negative 10 is positive 8. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is positive 1. So I really have 8 plus n, or 1n here. Then I can see how many terms I have left. Since I have 2 terms, I'm going to see if I can do difference of squares, but I can't take the square root of 8 or the square root of n. So I can't use that. This is my final answer here. Okay, number 3, I'm going to go ahead and start by finding a GCF. These are all even, so I can divide by 2. I'm actually going to grab my calculator to see if I can divide by anything bigger than 2, because I know that I can divide 16 by 4 and 8, and I can divide 72 by 4 and 8. So let's try 8, because that would be the biggest. 84 divided by 8 actually gives me a decimal. So now I'm going to try 84 divided by 4, which is 21. So I'm going to go ahead and take out a 21. Sorry, take out a 4. And I can't take a v out because this one doesn't have a v. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. 84 divided by 4 is 21. And then 72 divided by 4 is going to be 18. Okay. After we've taken out a GCF, the next step is to decide how many terms we're dealing with. Since we have 3 terms left in the parentheses, we're going to go ahead and make an x for an x factor. For the top of my x, I need to multiply 4 times 18, negative 18, which is negative 72. And the bottom, I have to do negative 21. Now, I'm not sure about you, but this one is not as easy for me to do off the top of my head. So I'm going to start listing factors out. I know I could do 1 times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times 24, 4 times, let's see, 18. Use that one in a different example. 5 doesn't work. 6 is 12. 7 doesn't work, and then 8 times 9. Okay, since this is negative, one of these needs to be negative, so I'm going to go ahead and make the bigger one negative, just because I know it needs to be negative. And I noticed right here that 3 and negative 24 would give me negative 21. So I'm going to write this as 3 and negative 24. You could definitely switch those. I'm going to forget about this 4 for right now, just to make my writing this out a little bit easier. But I have 4v squared plus 3v minus 24v minus 18. I need to make 2 groups here. So I have a group here and a group here. I'm going to squeeze a plus sign in here. In the first group, I can only take out a v, so I'm left with 4v plus 3. In the second group, I'm going to divide by negative 6. So negative 24 divided by negative 6 is positive 4, and negative 18 divided by negative 6 is positive 3. If these 2 match, we're good. We're going to pull that out front, and then these 2 make my next group. And this needs to come down and go in front here. Next one. I see 4 terms, and I can't divide 7 by 5, so I know that I can't do a GCF there. So I'm going to make 2 groups right away. I can take 5m squared out of the first group, so I'm left with 5m minus 1. It is extremely important that you don't forget the 1. I can divide by 7 in the second group, so I'm left with 5m minus 1. And those two match, so 5m minus 1 times 5m squared plus 7 gives me my final answer. Can't go any further there. Number 5, first thing I'm checking for is a GCF. I notice that I can divide all those by 2. So if I take a 2 out, I'm left with just an x squared minus 7x minus 8. And then in my parentheses, I have 3 terms. So 1 times negative 8 goes on top, negative 7 goes on bottom. So we have negative 8 and 1 there. So if I do x, oops, sorry guys. There we go. So if I do x squared minus 8x plus 1x minus 8, because this one's staying the same here, to go back to the beginning, make 2 groups. I can take an x out of the first group. I can take a 1 out of the second group. And then these match. So I'm going to pull them out front. X plus 1 in the second group, that 2 comes down out front. Okay, last one I'm going to do completely through is this one. There's no GCF here, but there's 2 terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can take the square root of n squared, which gives me n. I'm going to see if I can take the square root of 4, which gives me 2. And then I have to have a minus sign there, otherwise this doesn't work. So I have n and 2, 1's plus, 1's minus. This is a difference of squares. Okay, on the next page, I'm just going to show you which method I'm going to do first. I'm going to check for GCF, and then this is going to be AC split because there's 3 terms. This one I'm going to check for GCF, which there isn't one, and then 3 terms means AC split. 4 terms means group. 3 terms GCF if there is one, AC split. 3 terms GCF, and then see if you can do AC split. 3 terms, there's no GCF there, so we're going to go right to AC split. 2 terms can take the square roots, so this is a difference of squares. And then the last one, 3 terms, no GCF, is AC split. Okay, so again, if you have any questions on any of those problems, hit pause, rewind, reach out, let us know if you have any questions. Have a great day.